Hey guys, this is Jack bringing you week 3 of the LSBA. This week I was facing our last division rival, Lindy, coach of the Turnt Up Tyrantrums. Um, Looking at our team roster, I came in with the battle strategy that I need to get rid of her 3 mons that can outspeed Manaphy, which are Gengar, Chinchino, and Gardevoir. Gardevoir can does speed tie, but if it does win that speed tie, it can put it into hurt. So that's the mindset I had coming into this game. However, at team preview, I did not expect her to bring that Ditto, and I realized that if I set up with Manaphy while that Ditto is still around, that could be extremely bad news for me. So I definitely had to play that around that a bit this game. Um, Also, in hindsight, I did not prep well enough for that Mega Gardevoir. I did bring Doublade, and I did give it enough. I did make it specially defensive. I did have a little hiccup in my EV spread, which you will see later on. That did cost me a little bit. But overall, this is a real good match, and let's get started. So I'm going to lead off with the Rotom, a pretty common lead for me. I need to stop doing that because it's just really predictable. I'm going to volt switch on the Heatran, go to Tentacruel. I'm going to go for the Rapid Spin here because I don't want Rock Slump on my side of the field as she switches into her Scizor. And I'm going to fire off a Scald here, hoping for the burn, which I don't get. Unfortunate, but it happens. Seeing that damage from knockoff, that is definitely choice banded damage, so I switch into Chesshot here to be able to eat that up, and I'm going to set up a layer of spikes to get those started. I know I could eat up a Lava Plume, however, she gets the burn, which means Tentacruel dies right here, which is really unfortunate. I would have loved to be able to get off another Scald right there, because nothing really wants to take one, but it's a game we play, it happens. I'm going to go into Chestnut here to take another hit from Scizor because I am max physically defensive. And I'm going to pause it right here. So I was just expecting a fully offensive, which of course she is. I'm going to make a really bad play right here, which you're going to see in a second. And I'm going to go into my... I'm going to go for the Spiky Shield right here just to kind of scout what she wants to do. I'll resume right here. So as you see, I'll go for the Spiky Shield to kind of scout. And she's going to set up a substitute, which is a huge problem right here for me because now that Tentacruel's gone, I have no good switch into a Hyper Voice and nothing that can easily break through a sub. So right now I was really freaking out and decided I needed to go into my Rotom because I was fairly certain she's going to go for the Hyper Voice, and that is resisted, so I know I can take at least one and Volt Switch out, and hopefully the Volt Switch will break the sub, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to switch into Rotom. I take the Hyper Voice fairly well, and I'm going to go for Volt Switch. Actually goes for Psyshock. But then the Volt Switch does not break the sub, which is a huge shocker. I was totally expecting Volt Switch to break the sub. So I'm going to go into my Doublade now because I do have the Shadow Sneak to be able to get that damage off. But when I was making this team, I thought I had EV'd. I thought I had calced my Doublade to be able to take 2 Shadow Balls from a max special attack timid Gardevoir. But I guess when I was making this team on Showdown, I put them in wrong because obviously, as you see, Shadow Ball is a 2-hit KO, which is really unfortunate because I was totally expecting to be able to live 2 Shadow Balls. But that happens, I guess. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Sneak here just to get awesome chip damage as she goes for the Shadow Ball and takes out my Doublade. And here I'm going to go into Manaphy, and she does with the Speed Tie here as I go for the Scald. I would have loved to win that Speed Tie, but you can't wish for everything. I'm going to predict the Bullet Seed here and switch out to my Rotom. I'm going to take that, as you see, no problem. And now I'm going to go for the Volt Switch, expecting her to switch out because I'm fairly certain she's banded. So Here's my thought process here. My my moveset on Rotom is Overheat, Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. So my thinking was I'm going to switch into Manaphy to bait the Volt Switch and then go into Chestnut Hit, thinking that most Rotoms tend to run Scarf, so then she would be trapped into Volt Switch, and then I could fire off a free Earthquake. However, I'm going to play it right now. As you see, she makes the great prediction and actually goes for Will-O-Wisp on my Mamoswine, which is a fantastic play on her part. I'm going to go for the Earthquake here, and I do get the crit. That crit did matter, so that was definitely some lucky hacks on my part. I definitely needed that crit. At this point, Mamoswine is burned. It's not going to do much else. So I'm just going to sack it off to this Tyrantrum. The fact that the Tyrantrum outspeeded right there proves that it was scarfed, which is really fortunate on my part because now I know it's not a Dragonet set, which could have put in a lot more work against my team. So right here, as you see, I went into Rotom because I am actually max physically defensive. And I'm just gonna get off another free Volt Switch. Actually, no, sorry, that's the wrong part. I'm gonna go for a Pain Split here to get some health back as she goes into Rotom, and now I'm gonna go for the Volt Switch. And now that I see she's choiced into Overheat, I'm gonna go into Manaphy and fire off a Scald. Really, now that the Rotom's gone, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I'm going to switch into Rotom here just to sack it off because it's not going to do much else this battle. And now Chestnut can kind of tie up the game. She does miss the tail slap, which does kind of hurt, but I don't think it matters in the long run because I am max physically defensive. I'm going to go for the spiky shield off just to get that shield damage as she goes for the aerial ace. That does freak me out a little bit, but as you see, aerial ace does nothing to Chestnut, even though it's 4 times super effective. Chestnut does not care. I'm going to just go for the spiky shield right now. Just I don't want to risk the crit. And yeah, I won the game. That was a really tough match, I must say. Towards the middle there with Mamoswine burned, Tentacool gone, Gardevoir behind a sub. I just had I had a real uphill battle throughout that from the beginning of that match. Lindy definitely played extremely well. Great job in your part. And I really look forward to our next battle. Yeah.